So, what is Sodor Classic Mini Stories? Well, Sodor Classic Mini Stories is my series, or AU, that I've been working on for almost 4 years now. It's based primarily off of the television series of Thomas and Friends, specifically seasons 3 to 7 of the show. I like to think my stories start around season 5 and then branch off from there. My two AUs, the other being called Sodor Trainspotting, are a lot like the Railway series and the actual TV series, where one is heavily based off of the other. This is prevalent for early Northwestern Railway information and some general geography, but that's a whole nother set of videos. Throughout this video, I'm going to be showing a lot of pictures from the TV series, mainly because I haven't built sets of a lot of these locations. Although, these locations don't necessarily look the way that they do in the pictures. If I have track plans, I'll probably just show those as well. And finally, certain things are going to be retconned. Stuff like the Harwick Branchline engines going over Brody's Bridge and going to Calling Station, Rusty going to the mainland, and I guess just the existence of the 3-road bridge. This is just because they don't really make too much sense in my universe. So here we go. Here is the map of the island of Sodor. Of course, it's covered in railway lines, but I think you know that already. The main railway is called the Northwestern Railway. Like a lot of these types of videos, let's start at the beginning. Knapford. This is the terminus station for the Northwestern Railway. Just to the west of it is Knapford Harbor. This is the main harbor of the railway. Around here are some engine sheds, as well as the yard, where trucks and coaches are sorted. And just south of this is the old lead mines. When you leave the station, the line curves south for a brief moment, before curving west again. On this stretch, there's a passing loop where Stepney passed Thomas while pulling a special train, as well as the junction for Thomas's branch line. Traveling further, you'll go through Henry's Tunnel. Of course, this is where Henry stopped because he didn't want to get his paint wet from the rain. You'll soon travel through Crosby Station, where Duck crashed into the barbershop. Shortly after is the junction of the Loop Line. Let's go up it. You'll go up and soon come to Elsbridge Station. This is the junction station for Thomas's branch line. The branch line travels with the main line for a short while, but we'll talk about that later. You'll go under a bridge where some boys threw some rocks at Henry, before you come into the old Lower Tidmouth Station. The station is no longer used for regular service, so it's not marked on the map. You'll then come to the junction for Tidmouth Harbor, before coming to Tidmouth Station. My preferred look for the station yard is how it looked in snow engines. It looks the way that it does in rigid in the trucks, due to lack of space on my set table. Speaking of the Little Western, this is the terminus for it. Leaving the station, you'll soon find the junction for the Little Western, before coming to Tidmouth Sheds, the primary sheds for the main line engines. Going farther south, you'll arrive at Knapford Station, completing the loop. Heading back east, you'll pass over a viaduct before going into Wellsworth Station, the junction station for Edward's branch line. You'll pass the actual junction for the branch, before going up Gordon's Hill. It's a hard climb, so engines like Edward and Boko, or one of the Scottish twins, usually helps with this. You'll glide down the hill and arrive at Marin. I like the version with the curved platform from Season 6 and Season 1 concept art. You'll soon come to the section of Main Line where D199 and Bear broke down, and Henry had to rescue them. Henry brought these trains down to Cronk, where Gordon and Donald came to take on their respective trains. Just beyond this is the West Junction for the Peel-Godred line. Beyond this is the East Junction and the station at Kildane. This is the second of 3 big stations. There's a yard and engine sheds here. Ari and Bert will come to pick up scrap and drop off engine parts here. The line starts to curve north again. There's a junction and a small goods platform for the cement works here. The line continues and you'll pass a small wharf. Here is where the Skarloey Railway engines will transfer slate into standard gauge trucks. Continuing, you'll run along with the Skarloey Railway for a stretch, before going into a tunnel, entering Croven's Gate. Here, there are sheds for the Skarloey Railway engines, the station that transferred Skarloey Railway trains, and the works. You continue up the line to the final big station, Vicarstown. Unlike the other big stations, there is no big glass canopy. Instead, it's more of a suburban-style station, right in the heart of the city. This is because the city expanded around the station in the Sodor and mainland days. Beyond this is the bridge to the mainland, where you arrive at Barrow. Paxton shunts here in the yard, and Donald brought D199 here after he broke down. And that is the Mainline. Let's move on to the smiley little blue engine himself. Let's talk about Thomas's branch line. Thomas's line starts at Knapford. It travels along the main line before branching off. The line travels northeast before going through a goods station at Toby, before entering the airfield station at Dryor. Harold has a helipad here. Mail for the branch line is dropped off here as well. Going farther north, you'll reach the junction station, Islesbridge. Local trains traveling the loop line will link up with Thomas here. Real quick, let's travel along the loop. Like I said earlier, Thomas's line travels concurrently with the main line for a while, finishing again at Knapford. Right before Tidmouth Station, the line branches off. The line goes into Tidmouth Harbor, aka the New Harbor. This line flooded when Percy was trying to take the Vicar's Sunday School home. Like the books, this harbor is a subsidiary of the Big Harbor. There's a bridge carrying the Little Western, and the line travels north, traveling alongside it for a stretch. Along this stretch, there's a small seaside halt that's only used in the summer. So again, it's not used for regular service, and it's not marked. And then you finally link up with Duck's branch line at Tidmouth Halt. Alright, back to Ellsbridge. Going past the station, you'll travel over some points before going over the Ells Bridge itself. You'll go farther up before going to Maithwaite. The line climbs into the valley before coming to Hackenbeck Station and going through the tunnel. The tunnel curves before coming out to the top station, Farquhar. Regular service stops here, but of course, the line doesn't end. It spurs off at a Y. We'll go left for now. You'll go through the village of Farquhar over a tramway before going over a crossing with a dip on the line where Mavis once got stuck. After, you'll start to climb the valley, going past a runaway siding that Percy missed over a bridge next to a waterfall before finally entering a Nofa quarry. This is the main export for the branch line. Mavis works here and brings stone to the top station and sometimes even down to the harbor. Going back to the Y, it brings you to the town of Ulstead. Thomas will come here for special weekend services. There's also a castle here. Sir Robert Norby owns this castle, but unlike the CGI series, the only rail connection to it is a small halt for passengers to disembark at. And that is Thomas's line. Let's head south and talk about Edward's branch line. For the most part, the rails have been reinforced, so big engines can occasionally bring trains up and down this line. Starting at Woolsworth, the branch travels down the main line for a stretch, before splitting off before Gordon's Hill. You pass by Crock's Scrapyard before going to Sudbury. Just past this is the Vicarage Orchard where Trevor lives. You soon go through Lower Sudbury, before going up a hill that travels by the road, into Upper Brendam. There's a small yard here. Bill and Ben often bring trucks of china clay here. Finally, you'll roll into Brendam Docks. This, of course, is one of the biggest dockyards on the island. It has many canals and quays, with cranes all about. And there's yet another canopy station. The Northwestern loves its canopy stations. In the harbor, there's a junction that goes to the China Clay Works further inland. Of course, this is where Bill and Ben works. The pits were extended in Season 3, but there was a rock slide destroying most of the new workings. This was all cleared and redeveloped by the time of Season 5. And that's all I got for the Brendam branch. I haven't really developed anything new for this. But, that's the exact opposite for the next branch line. The Little Western. Duck's branch line has been a major focus in mini-stories so far, as you've probably been able to tell by watching through the series so far. So let's get right into it. The line either starts at Knapford or Tidmouth, depending on the run. Every other run goes to either station. For example, the first run of the day goes to Tidmouth Station. The midday goes to Knapford. This is why Duck went to Tidmouth in snow engines, and why Oliver went to Knapford in Great Western Quarrel. Usually the engine that takes the last train stays at Tidmouth Sheds. Let's start at Tidmouth. You'll leave Tidmouth Station heading towards Knapford before you hit a junction, curving east. The line converges into one and goes into Tidmouth Tunnel. On the other side, the line turns back into two, and you cross over the bridge that goes over Thomas's branch line at Tidmouth Harbor. The two branch lines travel side by side for a stretch before you come to Tidmouth Halt. The engines in the Farquhar branch usually only come here in the summers. You'll go through some rock tunnels and pass the wreck of Bulstrode. He was brought here from Tidmouth Harbor in this universe. The line curves inland and you'll go over Bolgy's Bridge. You'll travel by the seaside before arriving at the middle station, Halltraw. There's a beach, a lighthouse, and a small village around here. The line curves in and you'll go up a hill. Trucks pushed Richard down here once. You'll soon enter Callan. You'll pass a junction and continue up the line before you come to the top station, Allsborough West. There's a shed for engines and sidings for coaches. Let's go back to the junction. This goes up the Harwick Branchline. The line is serviced by Arthur and goes up to the fishing village. Arthur brings fish down to Knapford Harbor for the Flying Kipper. Along this line, there's a set of rusty points that Oliver was sent down once. This is the junction for Toby's old line. Let's get into some headcanon. Toby's old line was called the Alsborough Light Railway. It ran from Harwick Harbour to Lower Alsborough to Upper Alsborough and into Great Waterton. That's right, baby. I'm saying Great Waterton was on Toby's line, specifically this set from Season 5. And then you'll come to Arsdale End. Alright, let me explain here. In the old days, the Alsborough Light Railway was a bustling line. It connected mines in the hills of Great Waterton. Toby brought goods from these mines and nearby factories to Harwick Harbour. Everything was going fine for the ALR, until the fateful day where the mines finally dried up. Many of the factories had to be closed down because of it, and most of the remaining factories opted to sign contracts with the roads, as opposed to the railway. The line soon shut down, only after Sir Topham had visited the line. Soon, Toby was bought by the Northwestern. Many years later, Oliver rediscovered the old line after a new signalman pulled the lever for the old line, sending Oliver down it. This ultimately would be good for Sir Topham, after ballast was discovered in the spoils of the old mines. Richard was tasked with taking these new ballast trains. Curiously though, a lot of the old lines were getting ripped up, but not many people know why. Alright, so we've basically covered the entire east side of the island. Let's head west and talk about the Godred Branchline. This line has two junctions, one coming from the east after Cronk, and the other is west of Kildane. For this, we'll start at Kildane. The line spurs off from Kildane Station, although there aren't many passenger trains due to this line primarily being a goods line. You'll go up until you come to Abbey Station. This station was used primarily in the days of the Mid Sodor, but now it's a request stop whenever trains occasionally go up to Godred. The line crosses the road in an old station that was once the terminus for the Mid Sodor at Holwyn. The line passes a junction that goes up to the hydroelectric plant connected to the massive Coldy's Lake. The line continues over a viaduct and spurs off again. Heading up the spur, we enter the Ironworks, an engine part foundry. Erie and Burt work here. They'll pick up scrap from Edward Abroco from Crock's scrapyard and bring it here to be melted down into new things. They'll also bring engine parts down to Crovan's Gate Works. Going back to the main branch, the line continues into the walled town of Godred. The final standard gauge line is the one that goes to the cement works. Fergus works here and brings cement to the main line. This line was originally a branch line for the old Sodor and Mainland. However, it closed down later into the railway's life, leaving nothing but an old track bed. However, surveyors have been poking around this region as of late. Alright, that's everything standard gauge. Let's talk narrow gauge now, starting with the Skarloey Railway. The Skarloey Railway meets the Northwestern at Crovan's Gate. There's an engine facility for all the narrow gauge engines right across from Crovan's Gate Steamworks. From the station, you'll go through a tunnel that runs by the standard gauge line for a stretch before coming to a junction. One of the lines curves north, while the other continues straight to a wharf. Slag from the quarry is transferred from the narrow gauge to the standard gauge here. Colin is also here to do said transferings. Going back to the main line, you'll soon come to the first station, Crosney Cairn. Reneus passed Rusty here after he laid Weed Killer on the line. You'll go over a bridge before arriving at Reneus Station, and then coming to another junction. Both lines go around the smaller lake, Skarloey Lake, with the newer loop going to the bigger lake, Coldy's Lake. Take a shot every time I say lake, goddamn. There's a village on the loop line. The refreshment lady gets brought here every day. The old line is where the picnic area is. The lines converge again at Skarloey Station. After Skarloey, there's a junction that goes up to the new incline. We'll talk about the old incline later. The line starts curving down a relatively steep hill, entering Glennock. You'll go through a tunnel where Peter Sam got his funnel damaged. Yeah, I know he has his old funnel and speed killer. Shut up, nightmare, 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 nightmare. The line goes through the sheds again before finally coming back to Crovan's Gate Station. You may have noticed the old line that links up to Skarloey Station. Well, this is the Mid Sodor Railway. The placement of the Mid Sodor is based off of the map used in Season 4, but I've changed it quite a bit. Let's start at Skarloey Station. The line spurs off and up, as the railway traverses up the Coldy Fell. That's right, in mini stories, the Mid Sodor takes the place of the Coldy Fell Mountain Railway. As you go up the mountain, you'll go through the Mountain Road, aka Devil's Back. There was an incident in the early Mid Sodor days, where an engine fell off of this line. You'll soon pass a lonely house that helped fill Duke's water tank after saving Falcon from a similar fate. You'll curve down the mountain until you enter green. The Mid Sodor sheds are here. The line curves again and joins up back with Skarloey Metals. But this is only the first leg of our journey. After going through the tunnel, the line goes south. You'll go through Duke's Village and then to Valesbridge before ending up at the Old Wharf. This is the wharf that was in the hit era of the show. Colin was originally stationed here before being brought to the Skarloey Railway. But we still aren't done, oh no. Going back to Renea's station, the line junctions off west. The line goes past another junction that goes up to the old incline, above a line in a gorge. You'll go over the old iron bridge where an engine once fell to its doom, right before you meet up with the Peel Godred line at Howan Station. This was another narrow gauge transfer point for the standard gauge. And that is the map. Goodness me, that was a lot, but I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed making it. Attempting to figure out this map and how it connects to everything in my series and still fitting within a pre-established map is pretty tricky, but I believe that I was able to make it work. If you have any suggestions for things to add to this map, then leave it in the comments below, or the community post, just in case the comments get turned off by YouTube. And big shout out to my buddy Mr. Slowly for giving me the idea to make this map in the first place. Link to his channel down in the description. Bye!